no authorization from Congress, and little support from Americans. I went to war 3 times for this country and learned that when elites in Washington bang the war drums, working class folks pay the price. The tough talk of a 5-time draft dodger falls flat for Americans tired of military adventurism. Americans want us out of the regime change business. Endless war has cost us thousands of lives and trillions of dollars. Meanwhile, Americans are struggling to pay for healthcare, groceries, and housing. This administration owes Congress and Americans answers. Congress should return to Washington immediately to vote on the War Powers Resolution and ensure the safety of our service members. Democratic Congressmember Pat Ryan, also a veteran, posted the following. I served 2 combat tours in Iraq. I've seen what happens when a lying, chicken hawk president beats the war drums. I ran for Congress and serve on the Armed Services Committee because I refuse to let the country I love repeat those mistakes. It's why we passed the War Powers Act after Vietnam in the first place, so that before the president sends our troops into harm's way, he has to make the case to the American people. Trump hasn't done that. He hasn't explained his goals. He hasn't told you what it will cost, both in our tax dollars and, God forbid, our kids coming home in flag-draped coffins. That's why I co-sponsored Congressman Khanna and Congressman Massey's War Powers Resolution, and why I'm calling for a vote immediately to force an honest conversation as a country about what comes next, to stop yet another forever war. We cannot repeat our approach from 2001 and 2002. The answer cannot be, we'll figure it out as we go. I lost too many friends because of that logic. As I said after the attack on Iran's nuclear sites last June, airstrikes may start a war, but they rarely end it. And then in response to Pat Ryan, an actual veteran who served our country so courageously, you've got this big slob, MAGA Republican Congress member Randy Fine, just a grotesque human being. He goes, make Persia great again, trolling Pat Ryan. Like, why respond to the veteran that way? I mean, we could root for the Persian people. Absolutely. We could root for the Persian people to have freedom. Absolutely. But why are you trying to troll a veteran, you slob? And then Pat Ryan responds, okay, if you feel so strongly, Randy, then I recommend you sign up and serve. I'm happy to help you get ready for your fitness exam. And that's what Randy Fine looks like. Then you have Democratic Senator Mark Kelly, who's also served courageously. He flew missions over the Middle East. He's been shot at. And he's an astronaut. He's done it all. He's devoted his life to public service. Here's what Mark Kelly says. After promising to keep Americans out of war and instead focus on lowering costs for families, Donald Trump has launched a large-scale military operation against Iran. We've seen this playbook before. Weeks of inflated claims, selective facts, and talk of imminent threats that led the American people into a war that cost thousands of American lives and trillions of taxpayer dollars. The United States has the most capable military in the world. I have complete confidence in our service members, and I'm praying for their safety. The question is never whether they can do the mission. It's whether the mission makes sense and makes us safer. And what is it going to cost? The Iranian people deserve freedom. They deserve the right to choose their own leaders. So what's the plan for what comes next? I don't think Donald Trump knows the answer. And that's dangerous when American lives are on the line. When I launched on my first combat mission during Operation Desert Storm 35 years ago, I understood the mission and the end goal. So did Congress. So did the American people. That's the minimum level of leadership this country deserves. And Donald Trump has failed again at that. The Senate needs to come back to Washington, D.C. immediately and do its constitutional duty. Democratic Senator Ruben Gallego from Arizona, also a veteran, posted the following. our young men and women in danger. Our national security is at risk. And cadet bone spurs Donald Trump can't even give time to tell America what is going on. Of course, he's referring to how yesterday Donald Trump was supposed to address the American people and then canceled, but instead went to a MAGA fundraiser for MAGA Inc., a political action committee fundraiser at Mar-a-Lago, rather than explain to the American people what the hell is going on. Senator Gallego writes, the Senate cannot and should not do any votes at all until we vote on a war powers resolution. This war in Iran is wrong, illegal, and not in our interest. Americans should not be put in danger for the interest of Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE, and Israel. Gallego then says, Trump ran on exposing the pedophiles and stopping wars. Trump is now protecting the pedophiles and starting wars. Gallego also writes, so what's next? All these Iran war boosters are fine with an air war. What happens when it doesn't end neatly? Is Trump willing to commit ground troops? The president owes the American public an answer. And we know what the Iranian Islamic regime, the Iranian Revolutionary Guard Corps are saying. They're saying they are going to be unleashing attacks like they've never done before in history. And they will be attacking the U.S. all over the globe. So what happens next? And it's not enough to show just photos of Iranian people celebrating in the United States. Okay, and that's a good thing. We are cheering for the Iranian people, and we wish the Iranian people absolutely no doubt about it. The Ayatollah is a repressive tyrant, authoritarian, is a terrorist, all so stipulated. As Gallego points out, again, someone who's served in combat, this happened after Saddam was toppled, and it didn't stop many Iraqi insurgents shooting RPGs at me years later. He had a number of friends who were killed. So then what? As he says, as Gallego also says in response to a senior Trump administration official said that U.S. intelligence had indicators the Iranians were going to use their missiles preemptively, but if not simultaneous to any American action on Iran. And so the president decided he was not going to sit back and allow forces in the region to absorb attacks from conventional missiles. We had analysis that basically told us if we sat back and waited to get hit first, the amount of casualties and damage would be substantially higher than if we acted preemptively. What does it make any sense? What are you talking about? If you struck first, then you would be attacked simultaneously. As Senator Gallego says, they were going to potentially shoot simultaneous, as in shoot if we shot at them like any other rational country would. This is one of the reasons we started a war and put our men and women in danger. And then you've got these chicken hawks. You've got like MAGA Republican Senator Lindsey Graham saying, for all of our troops who die, if you die fighting, this will be a noble death for you. So go out there, fight, and take that noble death. That's what Lindsey Graham has to say. Play this clip.
Command. And if we lose anybody in this operation, they will have died a noble death because they will have risked their lives and sacrificed their lives to make us safer here at home.
And a reminder of what Trump said, or as Pat Ryan, Democratic Congress member and veterans, describes what Donald Trump said, draft dodging chicken hawks love to talk tough from their fancy gold-plated beach resorts, but they have no clue what war is really about. We need a war powers vote now. You deserve to know who wants to send your kids to war to fight for Trump's lies. And we need to know what we're doing here. What's the goal? Who's the regime change to? What is your plan? And just a reminder, here's the video, and it was our editor, Asen, who took this video, or he clipped this video that Congressmember Ryan posted. Let's play this clip.
Seeks to kill. The lives of courageous American heroes may be lost, and we may have casualties. That often happens in war. But we're doing this not for now. We're doing this for the future, and it is a noble mission. We pray for every service member as they selflessly risk their lives to ensure that Americans and our children will never be threatened by a nuclear-armed Iran.
Now I want to show you that Democratic Congressmember Jason Crow has been making some incredible media appearances. Here's what he said when he was just on TV moments ago. Let's play it.
That could happen as a result of this?
Well, listen, I'm just damn furious. The man's a 5-time draft dodger. He's an elite. And I went to war. I fought with working class kids. They're the